Let's have a look back at the highlights. Lights went green. And, just keeping an eye here on some of the starts. So Tonarts gets kind of swamped at the beginning, doesn't he, Tonarts?
He did, but he wasn't in an awful position as they went into the first turn, maybe kind of 15th perhaps, but fell back from there. Michael van Turnhout was the other big loser there, along with Lars van der Haar, as they hit the sand for the first time. It was Nys from Van der Putte. Ronhaar made a great start, but faded through the course of the race. Danny van Lierop was up there as well, and then there was Nieuwenhuis powering his way through, and all was good at this moment, and then that was the moment. He went down, that boa came off his shoe, couldn't get it clipped back on, and so yeah, had to do the rest of the race with that clip dangling.
Yeah, there's almost like you can see just reaches down. That's a moment, thinks okay, but then it's just collect yourself, refocus. Cameron Mason, another really strong day today for Cam.
It really was. We saw kind of him back at the front of this race and really giving it a good go. Kind of that 20 to 35 minute section of the race, he was there or thereabouts the entire time and gave it a good hit out for a lap and put a load of people in trouble. Verstringer then went over the top of him and applied even more pressure.
Does Verstringer, another solid day out for the man in the green and white. Michels and Van der Putte just shows us how every sand section is different. That Michels there gets kicked across as Mason comes through. Tibo just a little bit today, just those little errors that were creeping in for the Belgian champ today. That was really, they really did affect his opportunity to win.
It never quite looked like he had the bike underneath him that he wanted in terms of tread or pressures, but slips and slides here and there. Whether he was trying to take a little bit of a gamble with his setup, maybe a bit of a faster tread than perhaps they actually ended up needing, but time after time, small mistakes in the sand, and it was just after here where Nieuwenhuis hit the front of the race.
Yeah, he saw it in that section alone, just how much time Tibo Nys lost. Went into the pits for a bike change, and that was it. He exited the pits just as Nieuwenhuis hit the front.
Bad timing, but multiple bike changes once again for Tibo Nys today. Just as I was saying, never felt comfortable with his setup, and here it was. Nieuwenhuis hit the front, put Verstringer under so much pressure that he lost his footing on that section, and then it was kind of game over for everyone else at that point.
Well, I hope his knees are all right. Kind of bashed his knees on the course markers, didn't he? Didn't seem to affect him too much on the second half of the last few laps of the race, though. But just the power. I mean, if you look at the cadence and the power here for Nieuwenhuis, he was just absolutely nailing that section.
Textbook sand section from him. Come in with a really high cadence, because you're only going to lose speed and lose cadence through that sand. Even the way Nieuwenhuis rode it then, he lost a little bit of speed by the end, but that cadence saw him through and carried great momentum out. Nys finally got to the front of that group and did a really good job for maybe half a lap to a lap of holding the gap, but then once more into the sand. Nys had gone too deep, and finally a really, really big mistake cost him in the sand, where he had to dismount, run his way to the end, and looking at the time check, probably lost around about 10 seconds to Nieuwenhuis just in that one sand section.
It gives almost a resigned look back over his shoulder there. The battle for the podium was a thriller, though.
It really was. These three riders all the way. Never looked like they were coming back to Nieuwenhuis at all, but each gave it a go in terms of winning. And like I said in commentary, Verstringer and Van der Putte had it all to do in terms of the overall. They knew Michael van Turnhout wasn't on a good day. That was it. Final time through the sand. Van der Putte stays in that rut and powers all the way. And just those few bike lengths he managed to get on exiting the sand secured him that second place overall.
But it's another win, and what a season he is having. And he is starting to look that consistency, but he's missed the podium though, Van der Putte, isn't he?
He certainly is. Won the series last year without a win, and he's taken the overall lead in the series today.